There is so much talk about I'm going to sell my company, or the dream being I want to sell my company someday. It's sort of the American dream to build your company, sell it, have all this money, retire, whatever. But my argument is, and you've heard it before, why is that necessary? If you could build a real company that doesn't require all of your time and you've built a company you like, why wouldn't you want to continue to participate in it and let it spin off a lot of cash for you to live a great life and continue to build wealth? That's my basic argument. So let me illustrate. Let's say that you build your company to the point where you could sell it for $1 million. And I would argue that that isn't even in the ballpark of the amount of money you'd need to live anywhere close to the dream that most of us imagine. So let's say you did sell it for $1 million. And the numbers aren't accurate, but let's say you got to keep after taxes $750,000 of that. Then another magical thing happens, and that is you actually figure out how to invest that money and earn 10% a year without massive risk. I would say good luck with that one. And if you could pull that off, then you would make $75,000 per year. And that's what you'd now have to live on after selling your company. And if you sold that company for $1 million and you actually got $1 million, you were probably actually making more than $75,000 a year to get the $1 million a year valuation. So that's the basic scenario. So at $75,000, you're going to go get another job, or you're going to start building the next company, which is going to eat into your $750,000 so that you can fund that next thing. So my argument's basically this. When you actually break down the numbers, what does it really cost to live a pretty exciting lifestyle where you don't have to sell your business? So let me show you some numbers. And if you know me, then you know I'm not too big on having a bunch of debt, but we're going to use debt in this example because this is what's possible. So for $5,000 a month, you could buy a $1 million house. That's actually a $1 million mortgage. So maybe you save some money and you put down some money. So maybe you actually put down a $200,000 or $300,000. So in my scenario here, you're really living in a $1.3 million house, probably $1.2 million house. So for $5,000, that's a pretty good house in a lot of markets, unless of course you live in New York or San Francisco, then that sucks. Now, for $200,000, you could buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, or maybe a really awesome boat and some jet skis, or whatever that thing is that's sort of your thing. And you can finance those cars for 10 years, actually for 12 years, at about 4.99% with good credit. So your payment on that would be $2,120 or $2,120 a month. And let's say that you want to take some vacations. $30,000 a year is your vacation budget. That's $2,500 a month. So for $9,686, you could live in a $1.2 million home, drive a really incredible car, and you could take some really great vacations. And if you were adding to that list of what else would you do if you suddenly came into millions of dollars, maybe you'd have a second house somewhere. You could figure that out and add this to that number. But those are usually the three big things. We're going to buy a really awesome house, we're going to drive some good cars, and we're going to take great vacations. We're going to eat good food, but that doesn't really cost that much anyway. But what else do you really add to the list generally once you make it big and make a lot of money? My argument is this. Those three things right there will cost you $116,000 per year pre-tax. So what if you could just build a company that made you $250,000 a year? I know I'm talking big numbers, and for many people, given where their business is at right now, and thinking out into the future, how am I going to get there? It seems like I'm talking way too big and the numbers are way too big. But it's totally doable. Like in every way possible, it's totally doable. And so imagine that you could get there, and you could get to $250,000 a year. My point is, you don't have to build this thing to sell it. You can live a pretty amazing lifestyle and have some pretty amazing toys and do some pretty neat things and continue to own your company and participate in it and build this thing. So the whole point of the video was to point out a little bit of math and what kind of lifestyle you could potentially live if you wanted to and keep the thing you own. Because let me tell you, selling it for $1 million, making $75,000 a year, which I'm telling you is very difficult to get a 10% return on your money year after year and not potentially risk some of your principal. It's not even in the ballpark of what you'd need. You'd need to sell this company, in my mind, for more like $4 million, if not $5 million, to get to this kind of a lifestyle right here. And even then, you're as inflation eats away at your money, you're spending all of your return every year to live this lifestyle. So that's a little bit more complex, but I'm simply saying $5 million isn't enough to get this. Yet building a great company, making $250,000 a year could probably get you this. And again, take the example for what it's worth. I didn't think through all the numbers. They're not perfect. I'm illustrating a point, an idea of how to think about building the company and retaining it versus selling it.